stupid smart people. They're very smart, but at the same time, common sense, not so common amongst the smart people crowd. Sometimes called the tyranny of experts, so they're fancy names for it. Why do I bring this up? Because, folks, Fauci-gate is exploding here. You know, it's not just the stuff we talked about earlier in the week where Dr. Fauci appeared in a categorical denial at one point, say, hey, we're not investing in this gain-of-function research, teaching viruses or, engineering viruses to be more powerful, more infectious, or not, more, that measures the infectious, the infectious nature of the virus, lethality. We're not doing that stuff. And he was very categorical in his denial of Rand Paul. We played some audio which appears to dispute some of that. I'm talking about something different. In case you missed it yesterday, somebody put in a FOIA request, a Freedom of Information Act request, and said, hey, listen, I'd like to get a hold of Dr. Fauci's emails, because a lot of what we're paying Dr. Fauci, and a lot of what he said and recommended deeply impacted your life. You got a face diaper on probably today due to some advice by Dr. Fauci. Diaper up those faces. Your business may have been closed, your restaurant may be bankrupt, you may have lost your job, you may have lost everything you fought your entire life to build some of the advice by this government expert. And a fair question to ask when we asked for Dr. Fauci's emails and someone put in a FOIA request and got a hold of him, a fair question to ask would be, well, what did he base that advice on? Did he know different? Fair question, right? Is any of this out of line? Anyone in the listening audience? Raise your hand if these are unfair questions. Dr. Fauci's paid by the taxpayer. He's a public figure, correct? You pay him. He's not in a private enterprise. He is publicly paid by public tax dollars. Your money. You are paying him as a bureaucrat to do things in the public interest, correct? Liberals listening, anybody going wrong anywhere? Because you know liberals, just because I say it, is any of this wrong so far? Now, you'd ask that if the advice he gave to supposedly advance the public interest, a fair question would be, was that advice based on actual facts, data, and science, or was Dr. Fauci making political decisions? Fair, too, right? Fair question? Three fair questions right there? Well, now that we've got a hold of Dr. Fauci's emails, we know a lot of things that we did not know before. They're pretty fascinating. Some of the things we found out last night, don't you worry, folks, we'll go through all of them. One of them is that Dr. Fauci may have been aware of this lab leak theory and the severity of it early on in this crisis. Well, that's interesting, because the Washington Post said the theory was debunked, and I'm wondering when Dr. Fauci went to the Washington Post and said, you should retract that, the theory hasn't been debunked. Did that happen? Because I don't think that email's turned up yet, challenging the Washington Post. If it does, we'll gladly read it on the show. By the way, this is all under the title. What do you call this Fauci-gate? You know how every time something happens with Republicans, Democrats call it a gate? You know, starting, of course, with Watergate. This is Fauci. We're going to turn the tide. We also know Dr. Fauci was warned that China was probably lying. Again, none of this stuff I'm telling you is a shocker to anyone listening to this program that's sane, which is my conservative one. But again, some liberals of Fauci were just finding out for the first time. They found out a long time ago what we've known the whole time and kept it from us. Dr. Fauci himself questioned mask efficacy. We're not allowed to say that. The communists at YouTube and Facebook, Jim, cue up the Soviet nationalism. The communists at YouTube and Facebook, they're not even allowing you to question masks. The efficacy, face diapers, you're not allowed. They told you you're not allowed. Which is weird. Because Dr. Fauci himself early on was sending emails about the efficacy of masks. Really strange. Jim, you got the Facebook, YouTube nationalism? Attention. He is my podcast producer. He's hanging around the studio. He's actually working. He is at full attention right now. For our Fox Nation viewers at home, the hat. We got the hat. Hat tip, Badger Brian. You know who you are for sending this in. All right, enough of that. Thank you, producer Jim. Facebook and YouTube.